It's a crisp fall morning in Rome, Georgia, when a police officer patrolling the area near Heritage Park spots something strange. A car hanging over the edge of an embankment, its front end submerged in the low waters of a creek. Responding officers track down the owner of the car, Randy Davis. He tells them his son, 21-year-old Aaron William Davis, was the last person to drive the car, but Aaron isn't in it. 2 days ago, Aaron had set out on a road trip from his home in Cumming, Georgia, to Alabama to visit his girlfriend, but planned to stop in Rome first to visit an old friend from high school, 21-year-old Brandon Risner. Brandon and Aaron also attended the same college, although Brandon dropped out after the first semester due to struggles with his mental health. Aaron's father, Randy, tells police he has not been able to reach Aaron since yesterday, and now that his car has been found without Aaron inside.
The police incident report from November 12, 2022, begins with a sentence so routine it borders on bureaucratic poetry. Quote, "Responding officers observed a vehicle partially submerged in a creek near Heritage Park with no operator present. It sounds like a fender bender. A parking mistake, the kind of call an officer clears before lunch. But the empty car belonged to 21-year-old Aaron William Davis. And the space where he should have been sitting was about to become the void at the center of a murder investigation that nobody saw coming. Think of that submerged vehicle as the visible tip of an iceberg. What sat above the waterline was unsettling. What lay beneath, buried in an old cemetery beneath a fallen tree and a root bowl, was the kind of chilling calculation that makes prosecutors wake up at 3 a.m. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Beyond the Gavel File. Because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. Officers traced the vehicle to Aaron's father, Randy Davis, who delivered the first shard of cognitive dissonance. His son had left 2 days earlier on a road trip to see his girlfriend in Alabama, but planned to stop first in Rome, Georgia, to visit an old high school friend. That friend was 21-year-old Brandon Risner, so police did what police do. They knocked on Brandon's door.
Hey, what's going on?
Going good.
Officers track down Brandon Risner at the home he shares with his parents. They're hoping to narrow down Aaron's last known movements. Brandon appears to be home alone.
We started drinking around 12 yesterday.
Yeah, it's you and Aaron, right?
Yeah, me and Aaron.
Okay. Anyone else with you guys?
And we went to the bars sometime in the evening. And I had bought some red wine.
Yeah.
I guess that was after work, because I worked that day.
Okay.
And we came back here. We were driving to Gavel, and then we started drinking the red wine. He doesn't drink too often, so
Yeah.
he had gone upstairs and was just puking everywhere into the toilet. He was like standing up and puking for some reason. And then I went downstairs because he was telling me to leave and that he doesn't need any help.
Brandon repeatedly emphasizes his friend's inebriated state, and he also wants police to know about an injury to his hand, which he brings up completely unprompted.
I went downstairs, dropped a bottle, cut my pinky, and I went to the urgent care this morning. And yeah, I bandaged it up, took a shower, went to bed.
Okay.
And then woke up 1 to 2 a.m. around that time, and his car was gone.
And what they encountered was a masterclass in controlled performance art. Brandon appeared cooperative. Yes, they had been drinking. Yes, Aaron had gone upstairs. Yes, Aaron got sick. And then, entirely unprompted, Brandon offered a detail designed to preempt suspicion. He had cut his pinky. He dropped a bottle. He went to urgent care. He wanted them to know about that wound before they discovered it themselves. He washed the sheets. He had already washed the sheets. And that right there, that premature explanation about a cut finger while a man is missing, is the sound of a cover-up being constructed in real time. A cover-up hiding in plain sight. Officers asked to walk through the house.
Do you have any problem with us checking inside the house?
Nope.
No problem at all? So you're okay if we go in there and walk around just to take a look?
Yes.
Inside the Risner home, nothing appears out of place, but one thing does catch the eye of the officer carrying out the search.
Sorry, Brandon, I know I'm asking you a lot of questions. I have one more question. Is there anywhere in the house that you don't regularly go to?
The cellar,
Okay.
in the attic spot.
In the attic spot. The one with the key and the door
yeah.
over here? Okay.
The, up there, but to the right. I don't go over there very often because it's a creepy attic.
Although Brandon says he rarely goes in the upstairs bedroom, he says that Aaron slept there last night.
Brandon said yes without hesitation. Nothing appeared out of place on the main floor. But one officer asked about spaces Brandon didn't regularly use. Brandon mentioned the attic. He called it creepy. He said he rarely went up there. But he also said that's where Aaron slept. So the officer climbed the narrow staircase. The sheets had been stripped. Cleaning supplies were scattered. A vacuum stood at the ready. And then the officer saw it. Significant blood.
And a vacuum scattered about. But there's something off about this scene. The officer calls his partner up to see for himself.
There's a significant amount of blood next to the bed, too. Decent. More than just vomit. All the way over here. Looks like it's been there a while, but he could have been throwing up blood, I guess. It looks like it too. See all that? It's weird to be throwing up blood like that. Not to mention, if he had alcohol poisoning, he wouldn't have been able to get up and move around this morning. Especially at 2 or 3 in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, on the side. That doesn't add up. Still wet.
Might want to come over here. We got a pretty significant amount of blood in the floor. We got blood on this
Armoire.
armoire thing. All over here on the other side of the floor, on the rug. Yes. Yeah, we don't get out of here and just go back outside. Just raises with the other guy.
Just poured powder right there too.
The amount of blood found in the upstairs bedroom is suspicious. The officers leave the attic room hoping to avoid contaminating what might now be a crime scene.
Do you want to go and hook him or what?
No. Get out of here and we can get an investigator here.
Check the rest of the rooms, look for the victim, and then pull out. The sheets are in here.
Next to the bed, across the floor, on the armchair, still wet, the officer called his partner upstairs. 2 experienced cops stood in that room and processed what they were seeing. Not vomit, blood. The kind of blood that tells a story no one has confessed to yet. They made the tactical decision to exit to avoid contaminating what was now undeniably a crime scene. And that's when the performance ended. Brandon Risner ran.
He's running, dispatch. Westbound on Collingwood. where's your last eyes, 47? Dispatch, last seen area Laporte and Collingwood. Dark colored shirt. Yeah, red tips. Okay. Anyone run out this way?
Sorry?
Did you happen to see anyone run by your house this way?
No, I have not.
Okay. If you see a lanky kid wearing a dark shirt, call us, okay?
I sure will.
All right, thank you.
As investigators converge on the scene, the responding officer explains the grim situation.
I went upstairs, found all the blood, called him upstairs with me. We came back downstairs and he took off. Like a bat out of hell. Yeah, he was washing the sheets. I think he'd heard me when I said the sheets are in the dryer, and that's when he took off. I didn't even see him run.
He bolted out the back and disappeared into the neighborhood, a lanky kid in a dark shirt with red, tipped hair, sprinting like a bat out of hell, as one officer would later describe it. He was washing the sheets. He heard the officers mention the sheets in the dryer, and he ran, which leaves us with a question that reframes this entire case as a clock ticking down toward a body that hasn't been found yet. How long can a killer stay silent when his victim is still missing and the blood is still wet on the floor? Because at that moment, Aaron Davis was dead. He had been dead since the night of November 11, but nobody knew where his body was except the man running through the backyards of Collingwood Drive. Night fell, Brandon vanished, and then something peculiar happened.
So he's pretty new, from my understanding.
As police canvass the neighborhood in search of Brandon, a neighbor manages to get in touch with Brandon's father, Jeremy Risner, who has been out of town.
Hey, sir, I'm Lieutenant Sailor from police.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Risner, the homeowner,
Yes,
and
sir.
my Brandon's father.
Yeah, we're probably going to need to talk to Brendan. Do you know where he is?
No, I thought he was still at home. Now, earlier we had told him maybe drive around the areas where they normally hang out and try to look for him for Aaron. Okay, well, we'll keep trying to get hold of him. We're still about an hour away, working our way there.
Eventually, Jeremy arrives on scene and briefly speaks to police, but he is adamant that he doesn't know where Brandon is.
Well, we don't know. We don't know. Honestly, a couple of officers have been in and just a good survey of the home.
Night falls with still no sign of Brandon. Jeremy Risner returns to the house to ask police for more information, with Brandon's cell phone in hand.
Can you tell me if there's evidence of a fight?
You know, at this point, I really don't know. It's possible.
Was there a broken glass up there?
I didn't see that. I'm not seeing that.
All right. Take my this. Do you have a warrant that would include the phone?
No, we'd have to get one at some point. We couldn't go into it without that. So.
I've looked through it. I mean, he's reached out to folks throughout the day, asking if they had heard from Aaron. Yeah, some texts back and forth.
Something else. I can't punish you like that.
No, I know.
I know what I was in there, so
I know. I want to. I just hasn't.
I don't know, as a father, I understand.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna keep walking.
Jeremy tells law enforcement he and his wife found the phone while they were out looking for Brandon, but he refuses to hand the phone over without a warrant, sparking suspicion that he knows more than he's letting on.
How did Dad end up with his phone?
He said he found it. Yeah, he said he found it.
Where did he find it?
He was talking to his wife on the phone, and his wife was looking over near St. Mary's and all that, so maybe they met up with their kid. And I don't know.
I found it. Sure.
Yeah, who finds a phone, like...
Just
Yeah, even if you have Find My iPhone, that's not that exact, where you like, oh, here it is, you know. It also didn't appear to have a shattered screen, which means it probably didn't fall out when he was running. But still hit the grass.
Dad ain't giving up his son, where he's at, he doesn't know,
I don't know.
nothing like that.
I don't know.
Not unusual. Think he's covering for him?
Brandon's father, Jeremy Risner, arrived at the house. He had been out of town, but somehow he was holding Brandon's cell phone. He claimed his wife found it while searching near St. Mary's. The screen wasn't shattered. It hadn't fallen during a foot chase, and Jeremy refused to hand it over without a warrant. Refused. His son was missing. A young man was missing. Blood was everywhere, and this father lawyered up over a cell phone. Detectives noted the obvious. Dad wasn't giving up his son. He was buying time, a cover-up hiding in plain sight. Hours later, Brandon walked into the police station with his father and stepmother, Rachel. He wasn't dragged in. He surrendered. And the stepmother spoke the 6 words.
At least one of these questions is answered hours later when Brandon Risner shows up at the police station along with his father Jeremy and stepmother Rachel to turn himself in.
Rachel, Jeremy, if y'all can have a seat out here, I'm going to take him back there and we'll talk. And then, do you have some questions? Would you like to talk in private?
You need to send somebody out to find the body.
Okay. I'll be back in just a minute, okay? Alright, if y'all just have a seat, I'll be right back out with you, okay?
Brandon is taken to an interrogation room where investigators are anxious to hear what he has to say.
Before you ask any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before you are asked questions and have him with you during questioning.
I would like a lawyer.
You would like a lawyer? Okay.
Though Brandon won't talk, police are able to hold him on obstruction charges since he ran from the scene following the...
That collapsed the entire facade. Quote, "You need to send somebody out to find the body. Not Aaron. Not him. The body." She knew. They all knew. Brandon was booked on obstruction for fleeing. Then his father led investigators to an old cemetery off Trenland Drive.
There's a lot going on right now. Anything that we can do for y'all right now?
Need to find that body. I can take you out. Try to show you. I can try to show you.
You can try to show us
The general area, yeah.
Okay.
There's an old cemetery up the hill. You turn left. Something like Trendle.
Okay.
We can show you all.
Okay.
After their discussion with Jeremy Risner, investigators are able to locate Aaron's body, which has been buried in a shallow grave in an old cemetery.
Where Aaron Davis lay in a shallow grave, wrapped in duct tape, buried beneath a fallen tree. The arrest warrant upgraded from obstruction to malice murder. Brandon faced 12 charges.
All right, Brandon. I told you earlier you were being held for the obstruction from where you ran from the officers earlier. Now you're going to be charged with murder, aggravated assault, the obstruction, and hindering the investigation of murder. Thanks, John. Thanks, Dad.
Brandon has no reaction to the news that he is being charged with the murder of his close friend Aaron Davis. He's taken to jail and booked. It will be over a year and a half before he appears in court to respond to the charges against him. In all, Brandon Risner faces 12 charges. In addition to malice murder and 2 counts of felony murder and aggravated assault, he is charged with aggravated battery, concealing the death,
including concealing a death, abandonment of a dead body, and removal of body parts. A portion of the small intestine was never recovered. During his psychiatric evaluation, Brandon described the murder in his own words. Quote, "I don't remember a single thought. I knew what I had to do. I was a man with a plan. I got up on the roof and stalked my prey. I became a carnal animal like in a dream."
The state is seeking a sentence of life without the possibility of parole, so the prosecutor lays out the facts of the case before the judge, emphasizing the extreme brutality of the defendant's actions, as well as his shocking motive.
First, this was premeditated. This was not a random act of violence or a random occurrence. This is something that the defendant had been thinking about since at least early fall. He had taken edibles and witnessed a prophecy where he felt that God was telling him that he had to either kill his best friend or have sex with his stepmother, and so he thought there would be less self-pleasure in killing Aaron. So Aaron called the defendant that day to say that he was coming into town. And when the defendant got that call, he thought it was a sign of his destiny because his parents were out of town, and so Aaron would be alone with him at the house.
Brandon underwent psychiatric evaluations following his arrest to determine his mental state at the time of the crime. During these evaluations, he recounted his memories of the murder.
I don't remember a single thought. I knew what I had to do. I was a man with a plan. I got up on the roof and stalked my prey. I became a carnal animal like in a dream. I saw that he was laying on the bed in there. I hid behind the pillow for a second to make sure that he didn't see. And the defendant reported that he started feeling emotion for the first time as he was killing Aaron. But then he later says, the only emotion that I felt was surprise that I could have done it, or that I could have changed my reality so drastically by...
He hid behind a pillow. He waited. He said the only emotion he felt was surprise that he could change his reality so drastically by doing one move. The prosecution laid bare his internet history.
As evidence of premeditation, the prosecutor reads some of Brandon's internet searches from both before and after the murder.
November 11th, Friday. At this point, Aaron is dead. The defendant has already killed Aaron. And he is searching over and over for sheets and blankets. More than 20 searches for sheets and blankets. What he's trying to do is find a replacement for the sheets and blanket that Aaron is ultimately going to be buried in. He's trying to find a replacement set so that the bedroom will appear unchanged and again to cover up his crime. These are his searches on that day continued. And I'll highlight just a few of them. Professional stain remover. Does Walmart have duct tape? Schizophrenia symptoms. Hydrochloric acid. Best secluded locations. How to drain washing machine. And more searches for the sheets and blanket. And all of these indicate that he is trying to cover up his crime. All right. And so on Saturday, November 12th, he is still looking up carpet cleaning crew. Also water damage restoration, and a company called Chattanooga Blood Spill Cleanup, and how to clean blood.
Searches for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a story about faking insanity. Searches for hydrochloric acid, secluded locations, how to drain a washing machine, professional stain remover, carpet cleaning crews, a company called Chattanooga Blood Spill Cleanup. He was trying to order replacement sheets to make the bedroom appear unchanged. He even wrote a to-do list. Schedule last 3 songs, vacuum. Laundry. Shower in my shower. Not the guest shower where the dismemberment occurred. Text Rachel that Aaron threw up horribly. A cover-up hiding in plain sight.
Following the murder, Brandon also made a to-do list.
When I get home, schedule last 3 songs. That is a reference to his YouTube channel where he did post music. He wrote quite a few songs and performed them and had some of them on a YouTube channel. Number 2, vacuum. Number 3, laundry. Number 4, shower in my shower. That's important because Aaron was dismembered in the guest shower, so he's making a reminder to himself to shower in his own shower and not the shower he used to attempt to dismember his best friend's body. He also says to take a bath, so again, a preoccupation with cleaning, possibly to try to remove evidence that may still be on his body. And again, vacuum and laundry, these are related again to his attempt to cover up. But then he also he makes a written reminder to basically create an alibi defense via text to his stepmother, Rachel, by saying, text Rachel that Aaron threw up horribly. I think there was some blood in it. I woke up and he was gone.
The first item on Brandon's to-do list, referencing his music, offers more insight into Brandon's memory of Aaron's murder.
This appears to be some of his lyrics for a song. And the ones I want to highlight are right here. He screamed till he choked on his own tongue and blood. His scream became a gargle as he swallowed his tongue.
But the most damning piece of evidence was a document written in his own hand before any attorney could spin it. Lyrics for a song. Quote, "He screamed till he choked on his own tongue and blood. His scream became a garble as he swallowed his tongue." That is not a confession filtered through a defense strategy. That is a transcript of a killing. In June 2024, Brandon Risner pleaded guilty.
We're here today in the case of State of Georgia versus Brandon Christopher Risner.
Aaron William Davis was 21 years old when he was brutally murdered by the defendant. Between November 11th and 12th of 2022, at his parents' residence off of Collingwood Drive here in Floyd County, Brandon Christopher Risner did make an assault upon the person of Aaron William Davis with a blade-like object with the intent to murder and with malice, by stabbing him repeatedly in the head, neck, torso, and extremities, causing disfigurement and ultimately causing Aaron's death. Then, to cover up his crimes, the defendant attempted to dismember the body, and in doing so removed a portion of the small intestines, which was never recovered. Ultimately, he transported Aaron's body to a wooded area, and he buried Aaron in an unmarked grave underneath a fallen tree and root bowl.
How do you plead to these charges? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty. The judge accepts the plea.
1 month later, he stood for sentencing. Aaron's mother told the court she has nightmares
suffered at the hands of Brandon Risner.
Aaron Davis was and is the love of my life. I will never be the same for having known him. He loved me and I loved him. I could tell you 100 love stories and it would not do justice to how wonderful he was. We had so many plans for our future and the life we were building together. We wanted a wedding where both of our families could be together to celebrate, to be there for our first dance. We wanted to be married for time and eternity. But because of a man he called his best friend, who surely would have been one of his groomsmen, Aaron and I will never have these opportunities.
I've cooked and served Brandon thousands of dinners at my house over the years. And he's slept over at my house many, many times. He's seemed to spend more time at my house than his own. Brandon stole Aaron's life by murdering him and broke our hearts and devastated our lives. I have cried every day for a year and a half. I've had a hard time sleeping since Aaron's murder, and when I do, I have nightmares of Aaron being stabbed to death. Brandon stabbed Aaron to death. He also stabbed Randy, Luke, Lorelei, Phoebe, and Micah, and I in the heart. He ripped our hearts out. We have been so devastated by the evil actions of Brandon.
How can we go on trusting anyone fully after witnessing what someone that we had trusted so much brutally murder and eviscerate my son? The psychological scars from betrayal from one who we treated like a son or brother is irreparable. Every time I hear my son Micah refer to murdering an opponent in a video game, I feel pain. I work with elderly people at an assisted living center now who are naturally conversational when discussed and always ask me, how many children do you have? Instead of answering 5, which is correct, I usually have to answer 4 because I don't want to get into that with them. I don't need to burden them with what's going on in my life. But it's a challenge for me. I will never fully understand what led to this, but I know that I can never recommend that Mr. Risner be allowed to be free anymore. I do believe in both justice and mercy. I believe that justice can be best satisfied as Aaron will not be coming back. The best justice would be for the defendant never to be allowed out of custody again. I do hope that he can find mercy with God.
Of her son being stabbed to death, she now tells acquaintances she has 4 children instead of 5 because she cannot bear the conversation. Brandon's parents pleaded for compassion.
Brandon's parents say they too have suffered from their son's actions, but they each approach the judge to advocate for Brandon.
I realize that most people in this room and on those TVs are seeing a murderer. And they're seeing what they're going to see. What they don't see, what they'll never see, is the joy that he brought into our lives the day he was born. He's a kind, gentle person who never, ever showed a sign of violence in his life. He showed nothing but kindness. We firmly believe that Brandon's actions were not the result of malice, but rather the culmination of his mental health conditions. We're committed to ensuring that he receives the ongoing treatment and support he needs to manage his illnesses. We ask for your compassion and understanding in recognizing the profound impact his mental health had on his behavior.
I am Brandon's mom, and I'd like to start by saying how sorry I am for the Davis's loss. And I carry that grief with me every day. I don't know what happened that tragic night. I still have a hard time believing that Brandon could do this. I talk to him several times a week, and all I see is the same boy I know and love. The only way that I can reconcile this horrific act with my son is by acknowledging that Brandon suffers from severe mental breaks. That knowledge is the only thing that allows me to recognize that Brandon is where he needs to be for now. His actions cause devastating sorrow for the Davis family, and he will pay the price for those actions. I ask that you consider granting him hope for a future outside of prison wall someday, so that he may one day return to the family that loves him and cares for him.
For mental health treatment, for hope of a future outside prison walls, they said he was a kind, gentle person who never showed a sign of violence. The judge imposed life without the possibility of parole.
I have considered all of the facts and circumstances of this case and counsel's arguments. And I have come to the conclusion that justice requires that Mr. Risner be sentenced on count 1 to imprisonment for life without parole. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's based upon the premeditation, the manner of death, and the efforts to cover up all of the acts.
Brandon Risner's fate is now sealed. After delivering his decision, the judge addresses the courtroom for the last time.
Both of these young men,
citing premeditation, the manner of death, and the relentless efforts to cover up every act. But the case file leaves one question unanswered, and it's the one that sends this entire nightmare into the permanent darkness of legal record. A portion of the small intestine was never recovered. There is a forensic gap in this file that no guilty plea can close. The autopsy report and sentencing transcript are public records accessible through the Floyd County Superior Court clerk. Here is the question you can answer in the comments. If you pull the plea agreement and the mental health evaluation, does the timeline of Brandon's internet searches prove premeditation beyond any claim of psychotic break? Or does the missing organ suggest a forensic awareness that contradicts his entire defense theory? If you believe in following the evidence wherever it leads, like this video, share it, subscribe to Beyond the Gavel File, and turn on notifications. The documents never stop talking. We just have to keep reading.